Hello and welcome to the Potential Psychology Podcast. I'm your host, Ellen Jackson, and it's my mission to share the science of human behaviour in a practical, fun and inspiring way. In each podcast episode, I interview an expert from the fields of psychology, well-being, leadership, parenting or high performance. I pick their brain to uncover what they know about living well. What tips do they have for you and I? And I quiz them about how they applied their expertise in their own life. Join me as we discover simple, science-backed ways to live, learn, flourish, and fulfill your potential. Hi, Ellen here. I'm back to tell you a bit about what's coming up in season 3 of the Potential Psychology Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. I'm the host. My name is Ellen Jackson and I am here to tell you about what's coming up. And we seem to have unconsciously created a bit of a performance theme for this upcoming season. And by performance, I don't mean how to perform bigger or better or faster, although I know that you will pick up some tips on that if that's what you're looking for. Our focus on performance is really about the individual experience of performing. So whether that's as an athlete, a leader, a musician, a business owner, or just someone working really hard to achieve an important goal. And I'm exploring with my guests the stuff that sits below the surface that plays a really important part in our performance and goal attainment and our well-being. So things like self-awareness, understanding our values, identity, mindset, and also the role of families and relationships in supporting our goals and performance. My guests for this season include an Olympian, a performance and transition specialist who's worked with some of the world's leading athletes, an opera singer, a concert pianist, and some experts in optimal performance and student well-being at one of our leading universities. Other guests for this season, I'm talking on slightly different topics. We'll be discussing the psychology of movies and storytelling and how these things can help us to thrive and flourish, and I'm really intrigued to find out more about that. We'll be exploring positive workplaces, which is one of my favourite topics, as well as understanding stress and how to prevent its ill effects. And given now that we're into season 3 of the podcast, I'm going to try a few new things. I talk a lot to my clients about testing and learning and experimentation as a way to grow and change and achieve things. And so I'm going to test that out here on the podcast. So I'd love it if you let me know what's working and what's not as you listen to the season. You can email me at ellenjackson@potential.com.au or pop over to the website and hit the big contact button. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, please do. I'd love to keep in touch. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. So just search on any of those social media platforms for Potential Psychology. I will be back next Wednesday with the first episode of season 3. It's episode 21 and my guest is Caroline Anderson from Performance Edge Psychology, and we're going to be talking about the role of the mind and well-being in peak performance and also her experience as an Olympic athlete. What did that teach her as a psychologist? I'm really looking forward to sharing that and the entire season with you. Thank you so much for listening and I will see you soon.